it's a case of fake news. Number one, hackers basically plant a fake story about UFOs in an episode of Dateline NBC. And Dateline runs it sort of matter of factly as if it's real, right? You know, it's the news. And I think most reasonable listeners, right, of this podcast will understand that we don't really have definitive evidence that UFOs have landed on planet Earth. But this is kind of what the Dateline episode reports. So it's really, really intriguing. Right away, you're like, wait a minute. No, if this were true, this would be the story of the century, right? But no one remembers this episode of Dateline. Nobody's talking about it, except, you know, a handful of hackers that still remember it to this day. So what exactly was going on there? I think what's really interesting, if you look at this time period in particular, in terms of media coverage of computer hacking, it's very, very sensational. This is kind of before people realized that hackers, in many cases, were doing the public a huge service by uncovering security vulnerabilities, disclosing these vulnerabilities, working with companies, working with the government, right? All of these different things. So the coverage was extremely negative. It tended to make impossible claims about what hackers were doing. And it was really trying to portray them as dangerous criminals. The subculture is not happy about this, right? Because it's giving them undue attention. In some cases, it's triggering law enforcement action, which was completely unwarranted. And, you know, they were not happy about the situation at all. So with this case, it seems to be that hackers were trying to make a statement about the veracity of news reporting around computer hacking. Right? They knew it was very, very easy to implant fake stories in the media. In fact, this had been going on for a while, and it continues to go on for a while. Groups like the Cult of the Dead Cow, which are sort of involved with this whole Quentin saga, they sort of know how to lead lead interviewers into a line of questioning, right, that will try to draw out the sensational stuff. And of course, they deliver on the sensational material. And so it's not hard to convince reporters that you could do impossible things like move a satellite in orbit, launch nuclear missiles by whistling into a telephone, right? There's a bunch of these stories that are circulating, all of which are bogus. And so this is one example of that, right? Where you tell a reporter, look, I broke into a government computer. I found all of these UFO part lists. I find government officials talking about UFOs. And you make it look plausible enough where, again, there's a lot of information asymmetry at this time. Reporters aren't tech savvy. They don't understand what an IP address is. They don't understand what the Unix operating system is, what the VMS operating system is. So you give them kind of like reworked screenshots of real systems, real logs, right? But of course, you're injecting this interesting fictional narrative about UFOs all along the way. And so the hackers kind of start there. NBC, again, apparently didn't do any fact checking. Quentin is this anonymous hacker who appears in this episode alongside two very real hackers who are well known to the underground. And, you know, his voice is altered, his appearance is altered, so you can't tell who exactly it is. And, you know, he tells this tale. And it airs, and a lot of hackers watch this and they're really excited. A lot of people who know nothing about computer hacking watch this episode and they're really excited, right? And they get sort of inducted into the subculture. And the hackers run with this for years. They write text files around this episode. They develop the storyline about Quentin and this secret group of hackers that recovers the UFO evidence. And it really is an exercise in sort of mythology, right? Myth building. It really becomes like a cornerstone of the culture of hacking at that time because people knew about this. They were excited that notable hackers were involved in this and they wanted to learn more.